Hi folks, and thank you for taking time out with Twinpossible. Today I'm just going to give you postpartum mommies some tips on how to aid in your healing process after the birth of your baby or twins, and how to properly conduct yourself while the healing process is going on and moving forward. You didn't have your baby and conceive it and give birth to it in a day. Rome wasn't built in a day, and so you're going to have to accept the fact that it's going to take a little time to mend and get your former body back. So you may look like this for a while with some tasseled hair with that just got up out of bed look like I have right now, little to no makeup, hair all crazy, unbrushed. That's the reality of things. I hope you can see most of what I'm doing because the camera angle's a little bit off here. Okay, when you're lifting things during the postpartum period, this is not at all heavy, but let's pretend this weighs 10-15 pounds, okay? Alright, so what you want to do is you want to spread your feet apart and then bring one foot forward, okay? Bending at the knee, okay? So you want to bend down, bring the object towards you, straighten the knees, and lift up, okay? One more time. When you're picking up a heavy object in those first weeks to a couple of months postpartum, you want to take care of those abs, make sure they don't separate or further separate, diastasis recti, you all know about that. We're going to bend the knees, we got the feet apart, then one foot in front of the other, and then we're going to go down, bend, we're going to bring the object towards our body, straighten the knees, and up we go, okay? You want to do as little heavy lifting as you can, but of course you know you have to lift your baby up in the postpartum period. Unfortunately, that's a fact of life. So if you're holding your baby, you want to try to avoid, this is just a reborn Behringer I made, you want to try to avoid holding your baby on your hip like this all the time. It kind of puts your whole balance and body off joint and can really cause some pain in your lower back and can kind of crunch the abs in a not so pretty way, which can also aggravate your diastasis. And your baby will weigh between 6 and 8 pounds as a newborn, and you will feel it more so as they grow and take on more demands on your body and your posture. So you want to avoid this typical on the hip thing and then move over. I mean, when they're newborns, you have them in a more laid back position. As they grow, they're like this, and we're always shifting our hips this way to this way. You want to kind of heal yourself better and try to avoid this kind of stance, and sit down as much as possible holding your baby like this, in a chair, on the couch, while feeding your baby. Your arms, your wrists and your arms will get sore and painful and hurt, whether you're breastfeeding or you're bottle feeding, so you're going to want to support yourself using a pillow and support your baby's head. So the best case scenario would be to sit down, put a pillow here so that you're not really harming your arm and extending it too far, and also not putting as much pressure. And with that pillow support, let me see if I can get something over here. Say this is a pillow, but it's a cheesy example. Okay, so if I'm like this, I'm not putting any exertion on these muscles, and it's much more comfortable for me. With twins, you're going to want to get 2 boppy pillows, lay them in there, and feed them most times like that. Though you'll want some bonding time, do one at a time like this, supporting your arms. Okay? Now during the healing process postpartum, you're going to want to help with healing your vaginal muscles that have been stretched but will go back to their former self over the course of your 6-week period of healing down below. Try to avoid that sex before that time, ladies, but most of us are too busy or too unhorny at the time. But some of you guys, shock, some women get pregnant before their 6-week postpartum checkup. You bad girls, you. But anyway, you're going to want to work on the Kegels, okay? Your pelvic floor has gone through a lot in giving birth to your baby or twins if you've had a vaginal delivery, and so you just kind of want to work it out just like any other muscle. And these are safe to do after childbirth. You may want to wait a couple of days, but they're at least safe. You just want to, you have to isolate the perineum muscles, which are down in the vaginal area, You know, if you're just tightening up your butt, you're not zoning in on those special muscles in the pelvic floor that you need to contract. So you got to try to, it takes a little trial and error to figure out what you're doing and to know, you know, exactly which muscles. I mean, you can insert your finger, but right after birth we don't kind of want to do that. But you can also just put your hand down here, tighten up, and see if you're contracting in the right place. So what you want to do is you can sit down, you can stand up, or you can lay down, which makes this great for, like, you can do it while you're breastfeeding, you can do it while you're bottle feeding, you can do it while you're watching TV, you can do it while you're laying down for a nap, or healing from the C-section or other process of giving birth. You can do it anytime, anywhere, and nobody knows about it. So it's a wonderful exercise, and it helps bring everything back to where it was, and it will. So you're just going to tighten, and you want to hold those muscles closed and release. Try 2 to 3 seconds a piece, release. I can't honestly show you this one, you know, exactly, because obviously that would be inappropriate. But you want to make sure that these vaginal muscles are contracting. You can actually take a mirror down there to make sure and see if the hole is opening and closing. I know some women get skeeved and they really don't want to look down there, like after they've given birth. But honestly, I did it maybe 8 days after I gave birth, if that, and it really wasn't bad to look at. So don't be afraid. You know, and it's good to show how it contracts, just like when you have an orgasm and the muscles contract. That's what you're trying to isolate and build back up again. So you want to squeeze, release, squeeze, release, and maybe do like 10 reps of that to start. Go to 20 reps, and you know, if you can do 50 reps a day eventually, that will really get things back in tip-top shape. And also, just for women who haven't had any childbirth, or ones that maybe tour or have incontinence issues, this will really, really help you out. And again, they're very private and very effective to do. They bring back stronger orgasms, better sex, and your partner will thank you as well. Now, when diapering or changing your baby, we have a tendency to lay them on a diaper changing table or something, of course, stable, and we bend over. And we hurt our backs and we compromise our cores by all that bending and strenuous activity. So what you want to do is you want to put your baby, like, on the bed next to you, only in a very secure spot, of course, and change the diaper with your body being pretty level, so you don't have to bend and exert yourself. Especially if you have a C-section, this will help aid in a faster recovery and delivery. I mean, recovery after delivery. And so you want to get on a level plane. So you'll have your baby here, change, and on your way you go. Okay, that will help exert, because a lot of bending during the postpartum period, especially if you had a C-section, is really painful. You don't want any incision problems. You want to be sure that you keep those muscles as close together or as unaffected, if they are separated, as possible, and do more to help your body out in a hole to heal faster and more normally. If you have a toddler at home, okay, I don't know if you'll see me, you're going to want to kneel down to bathe your toddler instead of the bend over. Again, for the reasons I just said and the overexertion. When your core is weakened, you're going to have more back problems. And right after birth, whether you have or have not had a diastasis recti, which is a gap of the abdominals, you are going to still have your abs weakened. You're going to feel them and they're going to be mushy. And that's totally normal, so don't freak out about it. But you don't want to, you know, overexert these weakened muscles before building them back up again and letting them heal. So if you're going to give your toddler a bath, do get on your knees and bathe. That way puts less strain on your body as well. And when picking up your new baby, instead of the lean over, spread your legs apart and put one leg in front of the other again, and bend at the knee. Pick up your baby, straighten up, and there you go, instead of the bend. Alright? Now you might be really eager to get back in shape, especially if you see a pouch and a jelly belly there. You know, it may depress you, but it is totally normal to see that. It doesn't mean that it's going to stay that way. So don't overexert yourself during the postpartum period. Whether or not you've had a C-section, the body still needs to heal regardless of how you feel. I mean, after I've given birth a few times, I felt completely fine, especially the 2 births where I didn't even have an episiotomy. I felt like rearing to go right away. But you have to be careful because the hormones in your body softens the muscles and the ligaments and things, and you are more prone to injury still, and it's not good for the weakened muscles to be overexerted too soon. So you do want to take precautions during that 6-week period before you get checked up by your doctor and given the go-ahead for normal activity. But what is recommended, if you're up to it, if you had a C-section, you may not feel like up to it yet, but during that 6-week period, if you wish to walk, it's the best and safest aerobic activity for the postpartum woman. Okay, if it's beautiful weather outside, walk your babies. Baby, I keep thinking, oh, everyone has babies because I have twins. But your baby or babies, or walk your dog. Actually, your dog might be jarring at the leash, so maybe if you have a smaller dog that doesn't tug a lot, that'd be a better scenario. Or just go for a walk in the park, whatever you feel up to. If you don't have the weather for it, like right now where it's like minus 14 degrees here in New York, which is unheard of, it's not even with a wind chill, you want to just maybe walk at home, put some music on, and do 10 minutes of walking in place, or walk around the house. Everything counts, and it helps. Because it is aerobic activity, you are burning some calories, and if you're breastfeeding, you're definitely getting even more of a benefit because while you're feeding, you're burning calories, and that's like exercise for the body, helps the uterus contract and the belly get back to normal quicker without even realizing it and doing something positive for your baby. But we all can't do that, so don't feel dismayed if you couldn't. It doesn't mean you won't get back to where you were. You just want to make sure you don't exert these muscles. Now, especially if you have a diastasis, but even if you didn't have an abdominal separation, you want to avoid things like leaning back like I'm doing right now. I remember when I did that after I gave birth, I could see the protrusion in my belly, the diastasis. It came out like a triangle when I bent back. That was another way for me to check that I had it. But, you know, you can also check by using my other video by laying down and feeling at the linea alba for a separation, how many fingers you can stick in there. But regardless of whether you feel separation or not, you don't want to do anything that pushes the abs out and exerts them because, like I said, everything is soft, everything is healing, and so it's more apt to get damaged and you can actually cause a problem or you can further exacerbate it, which you don't want to do. So bending backward, it's not necessary, so there's no reason to really do it. Things that involve twisting, again, not the best. Try to avoid those things. You know, take care of the things that you do. Even getting out of bed, like I've said before, you're laying down in your bed, you want to roll to the side and push yourself up rather than exerting yourself up like a crunch because, like I said, you can further damage a diastasis or you can create one from the softened muscles. You can create it also during the pregnancy, so you want to take caution during the pregnancy with your abs and after. I thought I was doing myself a benefit by working my abdominals during pregnancy, and I actually caused my own diastasis recti. So I could have killed myself. I felt so freaking bad and guilty thinking I was doing something good, but I wasn't. And, you know, I did damage myself doing crunches and stuff on my yoga ball. Stay away from the crunches. Don't do any kind of crunches. If you have a diastasis and you want to get your abs back, wait until your 6-week checkup to do any specific ab exercises. I've shown you ones before that are for diastasis specifically where you can take a scarf and you tighten, you cross it over and you tighten as you sit up rather than just doing a regular crunch, which is damaging. Who knew before this? I didn't. Some people do, some people didn't. I was one of those ones who had no clue. I thought they were good for you. Oh well, you live and you learn, sometimes the hard way. You know, you want to make sure whatever you do, you're drawing the muscles together and not creating a worse scenario for yourself because you're going to have more back pain and more problems, possible hernias and other things if you leave your diastasis alone, or you further exacerbate it. So what I always say is, rather than just like doing too much too fast, wait it out a little bit, get a binder, bind yourself up, I don't care what you use. I use the Screen Perfect ways, but use what you want, and just draw those muscles together and do your aerobic exercise, your small things. You can do like a little bit of light stretching, but don't overdo it. I'll have a link to my video of postnatal exercises that if you want to do, they're fine for normal people who've had a normal delivery, and the ones for diastasis recti are also in my YouTube channel. So you want to just take caution in these early weeks, because you're more vulnerable to injury, because your body has been through a traumatic event, and I understand looking at yourself not liking what you see, so I covered it up. And in the process, covering it up with the binder helped me not have to look at it, and I was doing something positive for myself. But I didn't work on the abs, and I've avoided strong ab exercises, and I'm perfectly happy the way I am right now. You know, well, I've never been really happy, but I mean I'm happy with certain things like that. And that's what you want to do. So don't rush, okay? Don't rush. If you are breastfeeding, it is like a must-have to have a nursing pillow. Twin nursing pillows are available so that you're totally comfortable while the babies are feeding and you're not putting too much weight on you. Because just people who do heavy lifting, like bending over a lot, lifting heavy things, carrying babies around, can harm their abs, even if they've never had the child, like a man, like my husband, who works with lifting heavy bundles. He's got injuries throughout his entire body. You know, so it does take its toll. So even though you're not lifting, you know, as heavy as stuff, you want to take care, especially again in those early weeks, to make sure that you're supporting yourself. So you bend at the knees, avoid the leaning forward, avoid stretching back like that. I still don't like going back really, because it just doesn't feel right, and I remember seeing that bulge. You're just going to want to support your baby or babies as best you can and be comfortable, so you're not overexerting yourself and causing yourself any trauma or extra sore muscles. You may feel like you've lost some flexibility and stuff, and you have, and some strength and some muscle during your pregnancy because you weren't able to keep up with your normal regime, especially for those who are used to working out a lot and had prior to their pregnancies, or even did some during pregnancy. So it may feel a little weird to not do anything, but you know, like I said, walking is best. But if you want to just get a little bit more flexibility back in yourself without harming yourself, this is a good upper back stretch, and it's just good for flexibility and getting back into the swing of things. As muscles might be tight, especially those who've been on bed rest or just had a lack of activity. Winter pregnancies, I remember well, were quite a bit of lack of activity due to the weather. So you can bring your arms above your head, palms facing each other, and stretch it out. Don't bend back. And you can hold that for 10 to 15 seconds, or 5 to 15, whatever feels comfortable. Putting them out to the side, stretching out those shoulder blades and the shoulders, and then reach behind. As far as you can, only do what's comfortable. You can feel that in the upper back end between the shoulder blades, more so even. And you can repeat. Up. Of course, slower than what I'm showing you, but, and to the back. And that's about as far as I can do. I'm not the most flexible in my back area. My back is pretty stiff. I have a few herniated discs myself, so I'm not in the perfect shape. But as you strengthen your core, if you do have back pain, like when my core is strong, I don't feel those herniated discs. I only feel them when my core is weakened. And so with diastasis, your core is weakened, so you're going to feel back pain more so than the average person. So you want to build up the strength in the core, but you just don't want to rush it. It's not worth doing damage and then having extra problems down the line. And I'm going to show you now a few other exercises, if I can get the camera low enough, that are safe to do a couple of weeks in if you've had a normal vaginal delivery and feel up to it. They're just very, you know, basic exercises, nothing hardcore. Anything beyond, you would want to speak to your doctor. If you had a complicated delivery, a tear, a C-section, definitely want to wait for that 6-week checkup. Nothing bad's going to happen to you for waiting. you can always bind in the meantime, so that's not a problem. Okay, so let me just show you a few simple exercises that help regain a little bit of strength in the ab muscles and make you feel like you're doing something to benefit your body, which you are, getting back into the swing of things. Abdominal breathing. Now this is one of the basic exercises that I would say is the most safe for you to do, whether or not you have a diastasis recti or not, and the best thing for you to do in the earlier times of the postpartum period to start to get your abs and your body back. You want to just simply lay on your back, your knees a little apart on the floor, like in a crunch position, but we're not going to do that. Put your hand on your abs, your belly muscles, okay? And you want to deeply inhale and hold it for a count of 5. Exhale. Draw your body in so your back conforms to the floor, to your mat. A yoga mat is the best. This is a little bit of a crash mat here, but that's what you want to do, because when you bring your spine down towards the floor, you're really supporting and protecting the abs from damage. When you're bent like this, that is more damaging. So you kind of have to learn to draw those abs in towards the floor, and you want to just notice your breathing. You place your hand there, you'll feel your breathing, and you'll feel your spine touching the floor rather than being out like this. And you breathe in, and hold for a count of 5, 2, 3, 5. Exhale. Count of 5, drawing those muscles all the way back. 3, 4, 5. Inhale. 2, 3, 4. Exhale. Draw the muscles in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you can do 10 to 15 reps of those at first, and maybe go up to 20 to 30 a day, that's beneficial to your abs, and that also helps with the diastasis recti. It's a very basic exercise. Now, ankle circles can be used to enhance circulation. After you have a baby, sometimes you just really need to move your body parts around because they've been immobilized more than they're used to being, and you want to get the circulation pumping, you want to get your body feeling good and like its old self again. So ankle circles are just a little itty-bitty way of doing just that. You can sit down and do them, but since I already lowered the camera, I'm going to lay down and do them. Alright. Okay. I don't know what you can see here. You can sit up halfway if you support your back. I got no choice here. And just move those ankles around. If you put your hand on your stomach, you'll feel that you're using some of the abdominals for this. So if you have a gap, you'll want to wear your binder or get a scarf and draw it in so your muscles are together. You could hold them. Maybe do 5 one way, 5 the other way, and same on the other side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You gotta go clockwise and counterclockwise. Okay? And stretching is very important because you gotta get your limberness back from before you had your baby or twins. Because otherwise when you really start exercising, you're going to be in a lot of pain and get a lot of pulled muscles. So we can start with the butterfly stretch. If you've had a C-section, I don't recommend doing this till everything is all healed up. Put your feet together, and you can bounce them a little bit, and then hold them down and stretch them out. If you can put your face down to really get a full stretch, you can, but again, you want to make sure that you're good and healed up before you overdo it. This is just a basic. If you want to just go like this, at first, you'll still feel the stretch throughout the upper thigh area, and if you add this extra bit, you'll feel it even more intense in the upper thighs and in the lower back. Pelvic tilt is also good for those with abdominal separation and anybody who's looking to just give the abdominals just a little bit of a workout and tighten up the glutes. Again, if you're doing this without without a diastasis, fine. If you have one, you'll want to wear a binder or tighten up your body with something that you can draw the muscles together with, and tilt up, squeezing your glutes and your perineum area. So you're getting a tightening of the vaginal muscles and the entire pelvic floor, as well as your butt. If you feel your butt, you'll feel that it's tightened and clenched. Make sure the small of your back, everything is not arched, but it is totally bent and curved towards the floor, so you're not pulling the abdominals further apart. And release, okay? And you want to inhale while going up. Hold for a few seconds there, 3 to 5 seconds. Exhale when you come down. And the goal should be maybe 20 to 30 of these a day. Make sure that back is rounded to the floor. And when you release, make sure your back is on the floor, not arched. If you arch or push your abdominals out, you will further exacerbate any gap and possibly cause one if you do not have one already in the immediate postpartum period, or the first weeks of the postpartum period, when you have your hormones still circulating around your body. So the pelvic tilts are really good. You can feel them tightening up your thighs, both inner and outer, especially the inner. And they're pretty safe to do as long as you're doing them right. Just don't leave that gap or push your abs towards the ceiling. You want to make sure they're always curved in and to the floor as much as humanly possible. I did these with my binder on. They're fabulous. No problem at all. Okay? Those few basic exercises, what you feel comfortable in, and some basic stretching and walking is all you need to do for those first weeks and even a couple of months into your postpartum period. You don't want to overdo things. You don't want to cause any further damage. I understand that you want to get back in shape as quickly as possible, but don't go running marathons just yet. Take care of yourself. Take care of your baby. The first few weeks with your baby at home, it's most important to bond with your child, to enjoy them, and to try to not think negatively about your body, but to think more positively about the beautiful life or lives you brought into the world. So I hope this is beneficial, and more videos are to come. Thank you for taking time out with Twinpossible, where anything is possible if you put your mind, your body, and soul into it. Take care.